Oh,
I was hoping. I was imagining. Yes, they're waiting for the door to come in. It's a custom door, so they have a temporary door there that we can't use because people will just think it's a door to use. So they're just waiting until the keypad is there and all of that good stuff. So, I mean, we've been waiting for 6 months. What's another couple weeks or something? We are having a stair party when it happens, though. Yeah, big party. Okay, so welcome to the ZMY Begin class. Lie down on your backs. And if your back is not comfortable with the legs flat and straight, you can bend the knees. But if you're good with the legs straight, just let the legs be straight. Another option is you can bring the bottoms of your feet together and the knees can kind of hang out like butterfly legs if you feel like you want to open the hips a little bit. And you can always change your mind too. So lying down is the way that we can really have access to the breath more easily than sitting up or, I don't know, lying on the belly, saying child's pose or something. You can put one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, or you can have both hands on the belly. See what's comfortable for your hands. And you don't have to have your hands on your body at all. It's just to kind of feel the breath and see how it's moving. And just to check in to see the quality of breath that you have today without judgment, without attachment, just accepting where it is, where you are. And noticing if you have maybe shallow breathing, fast-paced breathing. Kind of see what's going on with the body. In the respiration process, we want the belly and the chest to move. So if you're able to inhale, let the belly kind of puff out and then bring the rest of that inhale up to the chest. Then you can exhale, everything contracting back down. So like a wave, belly, chest, exhale. We're not going to play with any new breathing exercises today. We're just going to kind of get back into the swing of things, keep it really basic, and be sure that our regular passive breathing is okay. Notice now that your inhalations maybe are getting a little bit deeper and the exhalations getting a little bit longer. So let the exhale fully empty the lungs on the exhale before you take that new breath. Good. We'll do this a few more times. Throughout the practice today, there's going to be disturbances, noises, air blowing on you, whatever it may be, thoughts that will come and go. That's all part of yoga, and it's going to be okay. There's never going to be a time where you come to your mat and you completely empty your mind and everything is totally bliss. This is a practice for a reason. You're practicing the tools of breathing and mindfulness and movement so that when you leave here, life is a little bit more blissful. You calm your nervous system here, so tomorrow maybe things will be a little bit calmer. If your knees are apart, bring them back together slowly. And if your legs are straight, go ahead and bend the knees. We're just gonna rock the knees back and forth. So just kind of like windshield wipers, you can separate the feet a little bit, drop the knees to the left, to the right, and just kind of stretch and open up, warm up the hips. Let the butt lift off the mat and just completely drop the legs left to right. And then go ahead and come back to stillness where the knees are bent and the knees are up towards the ceiling. Take your right ankle to your left knee or on top of the thigh, like a figure 4. And then interlace your fingers behind the left leg. So behind the left thigh, keep both feet flexed. See if you can rest the head, soften the shoulders, and you can even close the eyes here. That breathing that we were just doing today, that will be our focus, just keeping that breath through every posture that we do. As the body heats up, as the heart starts pumping, same slow, steady breath. Do you guys both feel this here? Or all 3 of you? Yeah. Okay, take another breath. And then exhale, release, bring that left foot down to the floor. And then the right. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left ankle to right knee, interlace behind the left thigh, and draw that knee towards the body. Both feet flexed, good. And that's just to protect the knee joint. I mean, not necessarily the right leg, but the left knee joint is kind of in a vulnerable position, hanging out in the air like that. So when we flex the foot, it secures the muscles around the knee. And this is a begin class, so I get to talk a lot in between poses. Just wait till we're in chair pose. I'm really going to describe that one today. I'm just kidding. Go ahead and release both feet to the floor. Shift your hips to the right side of the mat. We're going to come into a twist. Drop your knees to the left. So hips are going to be as stacked as possible. Yep, hips to the right and then knees to the left. Yep. And then your arms can bend like goalposts. And that right shoulder is just going to stay heavy towards the floor. So here we are you feeling a twist, Sammy? You're feeling a twist? Okay, good. Yeah, no, you're right. Your shoulder's pretty open. Both of you guys have shoulders on the floor. Robin, I can't see yours, but I think yours is pretty open also. So in these twists, goodness. In these twists, no matter what kind of twists we're doing, you're helping out the lower back, the spine, obviously keeping mobility in the spine. And then the digestive system is getting a nice massage here. Take one more breath. And then as you exhale, bring the knees back up towards the ceiling. Shift your hips back to the center. And then we'll do the other side. So shift the hips to the left and the knees to the right. The arms can stay the same. Or if you want, you can bring them all the way overhead. The more you bring your hands above the head, the deeper of a stretch you might feel in the shoulders. It depends. You're both pretty open, so you might not feel a difference. Really, that part doesn't matter as much. How does your bottom knee feel? Do you feel like you can relax the bottom knee? Okay. Well, bring your knees back up. Let me try something with you, actually. Bring your knees back up towards the ceiling. Okay, so bring your hips all the way to the right side or your left side of your mat. Yeah, now see you drop the knees. Okay, so that's just how it is. Another thing you can do is straighten that top leg and just use your hand to kind of press it down if you want. Yeah, just do what's comfortable. As long as you're in a twist, you're good. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like your hips are kind of tight today. Yeah. Okay, go ahead and come back to center. Feet on the floor. You're going to straighten your legs and take a long stretch. So just through the toes, up through the fingertips, arms overhead, take a really long stretch. Start to loosen up that tension in the body so we can let it go as we move. And then bring the arms down. You'll bend the knees, roll onto your side, and safely push yourself up to a seated position. Good. So just sitting. Okay, so this is where I get to learn your body. Looks like you're tight on the outside, but your hips here are pretty open. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and fingertips on the side, on the floor. Inhale the left arm up. And then exhale, lean to the right. So just opening the left side of the body here. We'll take a couple of breaths. As we're doing this, we're going to start learning or relearning not just the breath, but also lifting the pelvic floor and engaging the abdominals. Bring this left arm down. And when I'm talking about the abdominals, it's not the surface abdominals, it's the deep like stabilization, because we really don't care about six packs in yoga. I mean, some people might, but they're actually not that healthy for you. We just want to protect your organs. So talking about the deep gathering at the lower belly in and up. So go ahead and just try that. Gather at the lower belly, in, and then it's like you're scooping up. And then try not to hold your breath because that's a whole nother. Okay, let it go. But I'm going to reference that again. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, lean to the left. Lower belly in and up, but still breathe. Good. And you can bend the left elbow to keep the shoulder away from the ear. And then bring the hand back down. Left hand to the right knee. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, rotate to the right. Just a simple twist. I'm taking 3 breaths here. And then exhale back to center. Other side, right hand, left knee. Inhale, lengthen the spine first, and then rotate it from the middle of the back. So the lower spine, the lumbar spine, is not meant to rotate that much. If you do that, you're going to get into your SI joint and it's going to get mad. So think between the shoulder blades in that area where the rib cage is, that's doing the rotating. That's your thoracic spine that can do the movement. And then exhale back to center. Robin, I feel like you're going to take care of your puppy right now. It's like having an infant. It totally is. All right, let's go to hands and knees. Separate the knees so the knees are, you know, close to the edges of your mat. Bring your big toes together and then sit back on your heels and then walk your hands forward. So coming into child's pose, if your forehead does not touch the floor, you can use your fists to stack on top of each other. Good. Does this feel like a resting pose? It's good. Okay. So now we have the breath focus in the back of the body. So as you breathe in, you can kind of feel the lungs in the back of the body expand and contract. We'll take a few more breaths here. Try to let the sitting bones get soft and heavy towards the heels as you reach forward. And we're gonna lift the head and start to walk the hands to the right. So just walking them as far as you can, reaching with the left arm and then soften towards the floor. We're trying to get into the lower part of the left side of the back, if you can feel it there. Your head doesn't have to be touching the floor. It's just like a softening towards the floor. Now breathing into the left side of the body and feeling that part of the body expand. Just feeling spaciousness, having things open up for you. Inhale, lift, slowly walk the hands to the left as far as you can. Your spine has already been going into all different directions, so move as slowly as you need to. I know the wall is in the way there. You can move if you need to. And when we're doing things like this, where we're doing one side or the other, even with the twist, just start noticing any differences in the sides of your body. Inhale, lift, walk back to center, and then we're gonna sit up. Hands and knees. Knees are gonna go underneath the hips. The hands are gonna be shoulder width apart. And I get to talk about hands for a minute. It never gets old though, right? I mean, it might, but sometimes I know for me, because I have to go through the same like old record stuff too with my teacher, but sometimes I hear something new, but I just didn't before. Okay, so fingers are spread. This is gonna be anytime that we're bearing weight on our arms, whether we are hands and knees, downward dog, or hanging our legs out to the side, doesn't matter. Fingers are spread. We press on the palms and the roots of the fingers, okay? Wrist creases are parallel to the top of the mat, so they're lined up with the top of the mat. That is so we know that the shoulders are going in the right direction. And then we have the inner elbows, the inner part of the elbows. Notice that when you face the elbows out, your shoulders, what they're doing is they're rotating out. And when you draw the inner edges of the shoulder, the inner elbows towards each other, you're rotating the shoulders internally, and you'll notice the armpits get deeper. You might even notice when you do it, just rotate them back and forth a few times. Do you notice the muscles under the armpits, like the rib cage area? Do you notice those engage a little bit? And if not, see if you can find them. So when they're facing each other, press the palms into the mat and see if you feel these right here. They're the serratus muscles. See if you can feel those engage. And if you can't feel them today, that's okay. It's just part of the whole shoulder girdle that we're working or wanting us to work for us. Do you feel it today? Yeah? No? A little bit? Okay, good. Isn't that funny? Yes. Yes. That's how you want to, and so don't your armpits feel a little deeper when you do that? What you're doing is grounding the shoulders instead of using your wrists and elbows, which is the dangerous thing. Robin, do you feel him? Do you feel the serratus muscles? Okay. All right. So doing our cat pose, on an inhale, lift the tailbone and then raise your chin a little bit. Don't like bend the cervical neck or the cervical spine or the neck. Just kind of lift. And then exhale, you're gonna arch the back and drop the head. Actually, let it dangle for a little bit. And if you feel like your head is dropping all the way, let it drop a little bit more. And then inhale, dip the belly again towards the mat and stick your butt up towards the ceiling. Good. And just completely release the spine here. As you exhale, arch the back. We're trying to keep mobility in the spine by keeping the fluids moving and just twisting it in all different directions, keeping it flexible and mobile. Just keep going back and forth. And so you're pressing the palms. The inner elbows are facing more in the direction of towards each other. When you're arching the back, you're pushing the floor away from you. And when you're dropping the belly, it feels like you're pulling the floor towards you. Your arms are, you're getting muscles in your shoulders. Have you noticed that?
No, especially after we've been doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I can see some definition in your shoulders. Wow. You should let me take a picture of that after class so you can see. I think it's important for people to see the progress they're making, you know? Kind of, Robin, like when we were doing the down dog and stuff, it looks way different than what you think sometimes. We'll do a couple more rounds of this. Really push the limits of your spine. See where your edge is. And then we'll end up meeting each other with a flat back. Just back at hands and knees. And so just trust your ears while I walk you through this so you don't have to move the neck around. You can just look straight down and keep the neck neutral. You're gonna stick the right leg out straight behind you, like you're kicking the wall behind you with a flat foot. And then you're gonna extend the left arm out in front of you, trying to get the arm all the way lined up with the ear. Yep, and just keep your eyes on one focus point or bring the hand down if you need to. Gather at the lower belly in and up to stabilize. Take one more breath here. Good, bring the knee and the hand back down. Nice. Take the top of that right hand and press it into the mat. Stretch the wrist. You know, I didn't do this once all week when I was gone. Isn't that funny? Feels so good. Go ahead and release it. Shake it out a little bit. Do the other side, and then we'll move on to lifting the other leg. Also interesting, I wasn't on the computer as much, so it doesn't feel like as deep, you know? Go ahead and release. Okay, let's do the other side for the balance. This is our bird dog pose. The names are really not, you don't ever have to memorize them though, you just don't. We'll always walk you through them, especially in this class. Well, not every class. Left leg out, find your balance, just stare one spot at your mat. Use your breath to help you balance as well. Reach through the fingertips and kick through the heel. Remember to bring the navel towards the spine. Good. See if you can take another breath or two. And then go ahead and bring the hand and the knee down. Nice. All right. Curl the toes under. Make sure your hands are set up the way we were just talking about. Curls toed under, toes curled under, hips up and back. Knees are gonna stay bent for now, but you are gonna line your ears up to the inner arms. So basically we're pushing the floor away and shifting our weight back into the hips. Good. Feet can be hip width apart. You can start pedaling your feet out or kind of like you're walking. Alternate pressing your heel down to the mat and then the other knee will bend. So just like you're actually walking. Stretch out the calf muscles and the back of the legs. And see if you can engage those muscles, those serratus muscles we were just talking about. And Sarah, you can straighten your arms a little bit. Yeah. Shoulders are away from the ears. All right, we're gonna look up at our hands and start to walk forward. Don't come up just yet though. I don't want anyone to pass out. Let the head hang for a moment. You can even let the arms hang. All four corners of the feet are gonna be pressing in the mat, but the upper body can just kind of pour forward. Bend your knees if you need to. Let the head dangle like it's on a string. This is where we just let all of that shit go. Just let it pour out. Right here. Your mat will catch it for you. All right, look up. Bring your hands to your shins. See if you can pull the shoulders back and reach through the crown of your head. Knees can still be bent here. Mine typically are. And then bring your hands up to your thighs. See how this goes. Good. Bring the shoulders back, elbows back. Feels like you're lifting the butt up towards the ceiling to protect the hamstrings. And then slightly bend the knees. Inhale, come all the way up. Bring your arms all the way up. We're bringing the palms together. And then you're going to exhale, hands in front of the heart. Everyone good? No head rush? We're good? Okay. All right. Come to the front of your mat. Mountain pose. This is just kind of the in-between pose that we use. We're going to do a couple things and then we'll come back to mountain pose. So we're always going to remember this. The thing about mountain pose is that it's not just standing. So if mountain pose is already part of your practice, go ahead and get into your mountain pose. We want the inner edges of the feet parallel so the toes look like they're pointing straight, but we're really looking at the inner edges of the feet. And then if you can see your knees, see what direction they're pointing in. If they're pointing in, which mine do that too, because I walk naturally, not naturally, habitually like that. So when my toes are straight, I have to engage the quadriceps. So instead of my knees going in like this and I'm kind of blocking out my knees, I have to engage the quadriceps and make them line up over my second and third toe. This is all about balancing things that are overstretched or too tight. So this is not easy, but it looks good. Looks good. How does it feel? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you're going to engage everything. Yeah. Or do you have hyperextension? Oh, yay. Okay. I'll be watching that. Okay. Well, Sarah locks her knees out too, so you're not alone. Okay. Now, legs are solid. Keep that strength. And it also feels like you're kind of squeezing a block in between the thighs. So everything is activated. And so from the navel up, we'll gather here, gather in, up. So energetically, we're lifting up as the feet are pressing down. It feels very robotic, but this is what we're looking for. Neck is long, chin is parallel to the floor. And then bring your awareness to the shoulder blades. So this is my shoulders ungrounded. This is my shoulders grounded. So I'm drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. And even if the arms have to float a little bit, that's fine. Let them be loose. Let the shoulder girdle do the work. Feel the serratus muscles? Not as much here because your arms aren't pressing, but you can make them fire up. Okay, so now remember to breathe. If you want more of a challenge here, you can close your eyes. Feel where the weight is in your body also. Are your feet rolling out, in? Are you forward, backward? Try to get it all balanced and even. Where are you feeling it? Does it feel like the hip is popping out? Is it from when you're using the muscle? Okay. So this tells me something. That's good. Keep using the muscle. Just get it. What part of your hip is it though? So you're like a hamstring area? Okay. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that. All right. Go ahead and let go of your pose. Yeah. All right. Palms face up. We're just coming into an upward facing arm pose. So inhale, pinkies are going to be kind of drawn towards each other. And as you bring the palms up, draw the shoulder blades back. So don't let the arms lift up like this. Lift from the shoulder sockets, like you're not even using your fingers. So you can feel the rotation happening in the shoulder joints. Good. Keep going all the way. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Nice. Yeah, no, yours go down plenty. They're good. And so you all have really good range of motion in your shoulders, which is really good. All right, we're gonna do a sun salutation. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees if you need to, but let the head drop all the way. And then inhale, look up. If you're able to look up and get a flat back with your fingers on the floor, you can do that, or you can bring your hands to your shins to get a flat back. And then we're gonna exhale and step back into a plank. Remember, you can always use your knees if you need to. We don't stop at plank very much. So shall we stop here for a moment? Come down to your knees. So first, make sure your hands are set up correctly. That's really important for planks. And then with your knees on the ground even, you can see that the shoulders are directly over the wrist, or maybe even the wrists are a little bit in front of the shoulders, but they're never behind the shoulders. Notice where your inner edges of your elbows are, your inner elbows. So rotate those in towards each other. And then lower belly, in and up. Do you feel the serratus muscles working now? Okay, good. All right, so now we're just gonna add a knee lift. We're just straightening the legs. Keep everything stiff as a board, straighten the legs. See if you can lower the butt. Good, take one breath here. And then come back down to your knees. All right, so from here, that wasn't too bad, was it? I'm not a big fan of like, there's like, did it? That's okay. That's okay. I think that I deserve to not shake and plank after doing like 5 million chaturangas, you know, but it's just leveling up even more. Okay, so we're gonna lower ourselves evenly to the floor, but your elbows are gonna stay pointing straight back and you're gonna lower everything at the same time. Good, and then lower the feet. Inhale and lift the head and chest and shoulders. Good, Robin, I didn't know if you were still there. And then we're gonna exhale back into that child's pose for 5 breaths. I'm gonna count for you. If your arms are tired, you can grab the bottoms of the feet. A deep breathing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If your hands are not on the mat, bring them back to the mat. Look up and come to hands and knees. So are you able to do it with your knees like this? Yeah, because for some people that is comfortable. Child's pose is with the knees apart. If it's more comfortable, then definitely do it that way. Yes. Yes. Some people actually do just kind of like to do this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that's why when I turn my legs out, I'm like, Mom, help me.
It's exactly. Yes, then always keep your knees open because you want to be able to let everything hang forward here. For sure. Okay, so come back to hands and knees. No, this is ask questions. You get, I love the questions. Curl the toes under. We're coming back into downward facing dog. So hips up and back. Inhale, look up, step forward. So you're just walking up towards your hands. We're going to exhale and fold. Press all 4 corners of both feet. Inhale the arms all the way up. Try to keep the legs strong. Palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. Good. All right, turn sideways on your mat. We're going to use blocks. I'm going to give you, I have a sanitized block on the top here. Robin, if you have a block, grab it, please. Even though, Robin, you might, neither of you actually, yeah. You two don't need the block in the end, but I kind of like to start off with it in the begin class. So turn sideways on your mat. Put the block, you guys can face each other. You don't have to. Yeah.
My own fault. I just messed it up.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so feet nice and wide, toes pointing forward. We're gonna keep our legs as strong as they were in that mountain pose, but now they're just separated. So you're still acting like you're squeezing a block, like thighs are squeezing towards each other. Because that way we're not rolling the ankles out. We need everything to lift in and up. Hands on the waist, pelvic rim. Inhale, lift the chest. And as you exhale, you're just gonna send your hip sockets back and your chest forward. Keep the legs strong and then bring your hands down to the block when you're able to reach. Good. And Sammy, it might be better if your feet are further apart. That might help you because that'll relieve the hamstrings a little bit. Is that better? Okay. All right. So now that we're here, we're going to get the shoulders away from the ears. Use the shoulder blades to do that. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head and through the tailbone. So just get a nice long line in the spine. Re-engage the legs and then see if you can hinge forward just a little bit more. If you cannot, that's fine. Good. And just keep doing that. When you feel the back start to get round, you're going to stop and you're just going to breathe. You can drop the head. Be sure that you're lifting the sitting bones up towards the ceiling as much as you can. So we're protecting our hamstrings there. And is your hamstring okay on that right leg? Here, Sammy. Okay. Yes, micro bend the knees is good. And actually, if you're using the quadriceps here, that puppy is sorry. Like Sarah, you can straighten your legs. I've seen you do it. Are your hamstrings just super tight today?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're good here still. As long as the legs are strong. You're not locking out at all. And if your hamstrings can handle it. All right. Take one more breath here. Inhale, look up. And so here, if your back is not, you know, that it doesn't feel safe, then bend the knees because we're going to come to a standing position. But I want you to just bring your hands to your hips first or to your waist and then come all the way up. Good. And then bring the feet together and just give your legs a break for a moment. Was that all right? Okay. Okay, so now that our legs have been warmed up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and take that wide stance again. We're going to come into a warrior two. Anytime that we are and this really is irrelevant, but it won't be in the way. Anytime that we're moving the legs around, we don't want to drag the feet because it's going to hurt the knees. So always make sure you pivot. It's like the Friends episode. Pivot from the right heel. We're going to bring the toes out 90 degrees. And our stance for warrior two is different than warrior one. It's similar to triangle pose, which it doesn't, doesn't have to mean anything, but our heel is going to be lined up sometimes by the other heel, and sometimes it'll be lined up with the arch. It depends. It just depends on your anatomy. Both are okay. The back toes, we do want to bring in either parallel or bring them in a little bit of an angle. Okay, your hand is going to go on the left hip area. We don't even know where our hips are. What is that? It doesn't make sense, right? So gluteus medius is what I'm looking for. You're going to push into that and bend into the right knee. All of us have our knees going beyond the ankle. So that just means we need to take a wider stance. So just creep your toes so that your knee is stacked right on top of your ankle. Good. It's like a side lunge here. Your left shoulder, keep your legs the way they are. Your left shoulder is going to rotate back. So our chest is directly off the side of our mat. And then we'll extend the arms front and back. Good. And so here, the knee will want to cave in. And we need to just keep that open. Yep. Good. Take a few breaths, gather at the lower belly, in and up. Keep the chest lifted and the shoulder blades drawing down towards the tailbone. Activate through your pinkies, pinky fingers. Take one more breath here. Bring the hands down to the waist, straighten the right knee, bring the right toes in, pivot the left toes out. Right hand comes to that same spot on the right side now. Push into it and get the knee to go over the second and third toe. Good. And if your knee is going beyond the ankle at all, we want to fix that. Yep, check your back foot, make sure that it's at least parallel. Right shoulder comes back, extend the arms. So the upper body is like between two panes of glass. Good. How does this feel? Good. Drop your tailbone a little bit. And take another breath or two. I'm coming by you, Sarah. Can I touch you? No, you're good that way. Push this down. Loosen your toes up. Okay, straighten the left knee. Bring your left toes in. No, you're not. Bring the feet together. Good. And you know, something that you can do, even though I know this is a begin class, but some of you come to it just to get a little bit slower of a class, you can start hopping your feet together. Just a hop instead of a walk, okay? Come back to the front of your mat. We're gonna do a sun salutation before we do a balancing pose. Your legs feel okay? Good. Did it feel like stretching them out and it was strong at the same time? Good. That is a really, I mean, the warrior poses are very, they ask a lot of your legs for sure. Okay, so now we're back at the front of the mat in mountain pose. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Get that flat back. And then exhale, step back. We're not going to stop in plank this time. We're actually just going to lower all the way down and use your knees if you need to. Good. Inhale, lift to a cobra, which is chest, shoulders, head. Back of the legs are really strong here. And then this time we're going to curl the toes under and bring the hips up and back. And we're going to take 5 breaths in down dog. If you need to go into child's pose at any time, do that. 1. Try to lengthen through the tailbone. 2, and bend your knees as much as you need to. 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, look up at your hands, step forward. And exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. And palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Did you see how easily your leg went up there though? Are you judging yourself? No. Or did you notice that? It was almost like you were like, what? Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's do balancing. Use the walls if you need to. If you are, we're gonna do tree pose, okay? So options are here, here, never here, but you could also, if your knee goes above the hip, you can go here, okay? If that's in your practice. All right, get heavy in the left leg, start to get the muscles squeezing into the bones, like half Tadasana leg. Lift the right heel. Find your focus point. You're not going to take your eyes off of it. So if you're, I mean, this is tree. If you're comfortable here, stay here. And you can always change your mind. When you find your spot, hips stay forward and the knee opens. And then your hands can go in front of your heart. Gather in, up. You can bring your arms up if you want to do that. We're going to take a few breaths here. And if you guys are balancing really good, we'll stay a few more. See if you can soften the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. One more breath. Bring the knee forward, extend the leg. 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Gosh, that felt really, I didn't even have my toes off the ground, and I felt like my left leg was really working. Ugh. I mean, I was in a nightmare last weekend, so not last weekend, but the weekend before. I had a whole weekend working with my teacher, so that was fun. That was fun. Shift your weight to the right foot. So find your tree on the other side. Start to lift the left heel. I feel like, Robin, you can bring your knee above. Okay, good. You're doing it. Can your knee go above your hip? Just about. Can yours go above your hip? Okay. So you qualify to go here if you want. Yeah. Yeah, do that. And who cares if you have to touch the wall? It'll open up your hip real good. And then decide what you want to do with your hands. Use your breath. It's like you're squeezing the heel and the thigh together. Gather in and up. Good. Try to take one more breath. And then bring the knee forward. Extend for 3, 2, 1. Good. All right. Separate the feet. Toes going out. Inhale, arms up. You can face the front. It'll be fine. Yep. And then exhale. Exhale, come down. We're coming into a squat. Drop your tailbone. Yes, good. Man, I'm always so impressed. How, like, if you lift your heels a little bit, your butt will go further. No, if your heels can be down, let them be down. So bend your feet a little bit, balls of the feet. Can your feet bend like this, Sarah? They're not bending like that.
I'm trying to when I get bad.
That's good though, because it still looks like your tailbone is lower than the hips. All right. Knees on the inside of the legs, and you can always end up sitting on your block too, but yes, this should feel kind of restful, but your legs are obviously working. Good. All right. Left hand comes down, right arm goes up. So inhale, right arm up. And then exhale, bring it down. Other side. As we're going up, this arm is still pushing that knee open to get some resistance to come into this twist. Exhale, bring it down. That's it. Hands behind you, have a seat. Bring the legs out in front. Circle the ankles around a little bit. Where did you feel that in your foot?
I just couldn't make them move that way when I had my weight. Whenever I had my weight settled in, I couldn't make them back.
Okay, so go on your knees for a minute and go onto your toes sideways so I can see that. I just want to see like what's going on. Okay, and this is painful, right?
This is not bad. I mean, when I do this, that I don't like.
The tops of your feet don't bend. So that's not a bad thing. I just have never noticed that about your feet before. That's really neat. Okay. All right, bend the right knee. Drop it out to the side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring the fingertips down and walk the hands. Once the back starts to round, just stop yourself. Shoulders come back. Shoulder blades work towards each other. The left leg is pressing into the ground. Foot is flexed. Good. And also another thing, use your back muscles to help, like the whole torso is activated. So the belly is engaged, the shoulders are engaged. instead of overstretching the back to get to the foot, we muscularly, with strength, fold ourselves. That looks good. And keeping the foot flexed is what's going to keep that left leg active. Inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, release the pose. We'll do the other side. My northern accent's coming out a lot tonight, especially when I say things like toes and pose in the same sentence. Geez, I never hear that from you. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, fold. So even before we fold, we start to scoop up the belly. It's different than disengaging the abdominals. It's our bandhas. It is gathering in and scooping up energetically. And then find your breath. Inner edges of the shoulder blades back. Take another breath here. And then inhale, come all the way up. Release the pose, lie down on your back. You're gonna hug the knees, but bring the knees up to the body one at a time. That way we are not pulling from the lower back. We're using the abdominals. And just rock left to right. Make sure the belly is soft here. That way the lower back can soften into the mat. Good. And then we'll bring the feet down, take one last stretch. So arms overhead. Straighten the legs. Oh, geez, walking around without my mask. And circle the wrists and ankles. When you're done, we're gonna come into our last pose of every class, which is Shavasana or corpse pose. So the arms come down, palms face up. And the reason we do this pose is to soften every muscle in the body. Get to a point where the breath is coming and going on its own, and we can just observe how the body feels at the end of our practice. So begin to soften the muscles in the face. Feeling the jaw release, the neck, the throat, starting to soften. Allow the shoulders to release, letting the arms get heavier, sinking into the mat. And then feel that release move down through the torso into the hips, the hip sockets, allowing the legs to feel heavy. And just doing a quick body scan from head to toe, being sure that you are releasing every muscle in the body. If there's a spot where you're feeling that you're gripping, give that part of your body permission to let go. And in the next few moments, while we lie here in silence, your mind will wander. And what you can do is start to pay attention to the spaces in between thoughts, or follow the breath. Connecting to stillness is like connecting to silence. We come to see that stillness and silence form the backdrop of our lives, and that everything else is just passing through. Sounds come and go. Sensations come and go. Thoughts, emotions, all of them traveling through stillness and silence. Allow your inhalations to begin to deepen. And when you're ready, you can begin to slowly wiggle the fingers and the toes, being sure to wake the body gently. And after another breath or two, you can begin to maybe bend the knees one at a time, roll the head back and forth, just bringing more movement to the body. And then go ahead and roll onto your right side when you're ready. Use your arm as a pillow. And take advantage of these last few moments to release anything that's left over in the body that you brought with you today that's just not serving you. Make room for the new good things that you've learned about your body today. And then very slowly push yourself to a seated position. Let the head stay heavy. Bring your hands together in front of your heart and we'll close class together. Thank you for letting me guide you today. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks. Have a good